So quite often a lot of the normal Linux distros that get a lot of attention, of course, is the Ubuntu's, the Red Hats, the Fedoras, Gentoo, Mint, etc. But there's another Linux distro that's been around for many years, and it's called Nix and NixOS. And Nix essentially by itself is a specific type of package management which is designed to be reproducible on different systems. So in theory, you can actually take the Nix package manager and you can install it on a different OS. In fact, it even supports, I believe, Mac OS, Docker. You can have it on your Fedora system, etc. Now, today we're not going to talk so much about the specific package manager, but what we are going to talk about is NixOS. And NixOS is it is a distribution that uses the Nix package manager, and of course this is a independent distro. And the latest version that's out at the moment, I believe, is 23.05. And what we're going to do today is we're going to install a version of NixOS, and I'm going to show you some of the options you can do and how you can do the configuration, installing some applications in the OS and removing that, and how it's reproducible. So this is going to be the first video. I will make probably a series of these, but today it's going to be some of the basics about NixOS, and today we're specifically going to talk about editing the main configuration file and using that to go ahead and configure the system and install software. So, there's other ways to install software in NixOS, but we're going to start off with this one. So, NixOS, of course, they have your Intel and AMD and ARM. Today, you're actually going to do the 64-bit version, which I pre-ahead and downloaded. Okay, so there's two flavors, GNOME and KDE. I've gone ahead and gotten the GNOME edition just for something to be a little bit different than usual. I'll just NixOS here. That's fine. I'm going to give this about 8 gigs of memory, 8 CPU cores, 100 gigabyte hard drive. It's 2305. And we're going to start this up. So, NixOS in the past is very difficult to install, but now it has a traditional installer, which we'll go through now. But here we go, GNOME, and you can see the first thing is it uses Camara's installer, so pretty simple. So we're going to go next. And we're gonna type in my full name, gosh, choose a very strong password, disable the pass option for require strong passwords, and use the same password for the administrator account. Okay, so these are the desktops it's available in. No more GNOME. And there is the option to have allow and free software, so we're gonna tick that. Of course, if you only want free software in your machine, don't tick it. I'm not gonna do a swap file. And we're pretty happy with the defaults here. So I'm just going to say install. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause and come back. Here we are. So it's installed. That took a good couple of minutes to install. A bit longer than some other OSs, but nothing major. Okay, so let them boot up, and some login, credentials. We don't need a tour of GNOME, and let's go to settings. Two things I want to do. First, I just want to make it dark screen and fix the display resolution. Okay, so that's the basic NixOS installed. And the default software that you're going to find in here is really quite limited. Some of the basic stuff from GNOME, some of the additional utilities, but you're really not going to have much of a selection here. There is access, of course, to the Nixos manual, which takes you to a website and takes you through all of this. And if you're not used to using Nix or anything like it, in the beginning it's quite a journey because it operates significantly different than a different OS. So it's not something it's not the same as, for example, having Ubuntu installed and immediately going to install Fedora. It's the way you operate and configure it, as you'll see, is very different. So as you can see here, for example, really vanilla, not much software or anything else that's installed out of interest. Latest curve, so it's got an LTS kernel 6.1.38 and really not using much memory at all. But the point being is, how do we install software or configure it? And one of the things that Nixos has is its main configuration file. So if I would do sudo, and I'm going to do nano etc nixos, and it is configuration.nix. Here, it opens up this file. And in this configuration file, the idea is what you can actually do is make a copy of this file, possibly one or two small changes to it. So for example, like your bootloader location, etc. And then the idea is you can copy this file onto another installation. If you so being, run a couple of commands and bring up the system to very much the same kind of state. Obviously, you would have to maybe change one or two things, like make sure where you're on your different machine what the installation was. It might not be dev VDA, it might be STA, STC, etc. You would then also define your host name. You don't really want two machines on the same network with the same host name. So the idea is you go and make a couple of changes. Or of course, if you only have one machine, a good thing you can do is keep a backup of this file in GitHub. So if you need to reload your machine quite often, it's going to be pretty easy to get things up and running. So you can see here it's broken down into your imports config, your networking config, your X11 window, GNOME enabled. Here, cups for printing, enabling sound, and a lot of these things here you really would need to go and start fiddling with. However, there's a couple of different sections here. So for example, there's this section here where it's talking about some packages, and if you were to just go add more packages names, so let's say for example I was to uncomment Thunderbird there, I would uncomment it, run the script, it will make its changes and Thunderbird will be installed. And if I do it like that over there, then what it's going to do, it will only be available for the Gosh user. It won't be if I go and create another user on the machine, whatever available there. Over here, of course, is the whole section around if you want to enable SSH support, you would enable it over here. If there's additional services you want to enable, you would untick these services. And even later on, I'll show you if we wanted to add the Flatpak service for whatever, or if we wanted to configure the firewall configurations, we could add a lot of it under this portion here. So which is really, really fascinating. So what we'll do is let's start off with getting some packages. So I'm just gonna one of the things here, of course, I want to add GNOME tweaks, right? I'm gonna start up web, or it could be Firefox, whatever. And the first bit of additional software I want in here is GNOME tweaks. So I'm gonna go to Nixos, go to the website, I think it's no tweaks. Okay, so the nice thing about this site here is you'll see at search.nixos.org, you can search for different packages, different options, etc. So what I would do is just say, I want GNOME tweaks, I would click on it. And remember I said earlier, there's 3 different ways of installing software in Nix. For now, we're going to use the OS configuration portion. And under the portion where it has environment system packages, so if I go back here, environment with system packages, so I'm just going to go to this portion here, and I'm just going to make a few spaces and make sure we have this option here. Right. And what I'm going to do is go back to the browser, and here it says, if I add this portion of code, literally here, I'm going to copy this and going to paste it. Okay. I'm just going to make it line up, you don't have to. And at the same time, I'm going to add, let's say, another piece of software. So let's, for example, do Google Chrome. And we were to search again. And this will be the name. So I'm going to copy that as well. Now I'm going to paste it. All right, just see everything in its all in its own line. I don't think this says VLC on, does it not? So we're at VLC. So you can see the idea is you can kind of use the search, find the software that you need, and the name and convention as well. So we'll do copy it again, and we'll paste it. Okay, so that's 3 options for now. There's still space there, so configuration file should still be right. We're going to save the file. And now, of course, what's next? So now we need to do sudo again, and now we have to basically tell NixOS it needs to read this file. So we're going to do nixos-rebuild-switch into our password. Now what it's doing is it's reading that system configuration file, and it's going to see what changes we've done. So you can see here it's busy contacting the store. And what it's going to do is going to pull those files. If it can find a binary file, it's going to use a binary file. If it can't find a binary file, it'll build it from source. And so anytime you make a change on this OS, well, most of the time it's probably going to be in that file. You're going to go to that file and you're going to make changes. So now I need to just do a quick reboot. So remember, the idea isn't that you're going to go and do one piece of software, install, go back, reboot. You're going to do multiple at a time. This idea is, you have this configuration file, you build it out for what you need, and then you've saved it. Okay, so now I'm logged in. I'm open up activities, and you can see VLC's here, which wasn't there. No tweaks is now here, which wasn't here earlier. I'm just gonna do that quickly, just the way I'm used to using it. You'll even see Google Chrome is here. That's pretty cool. Right, pretty easy, pretty simple. And if we needed to do to upgrade the software at some point, we'll go back again, run the same command, and it will pull down the same packages. So let's do another one. So I'm going to go back here, open this file, and how do I get rid of the software? Well, to get rid of the software, what we would do is, so let's say we didn't want VLC. I didn't want VLC uninstalled. We can just hash it out and save the file. And you guessed it, to a switch rebuild, building, Give it a few moments, just checking what the deviations are of the build. I'm going to reboot it. You'll see the system's automatically removed it. It's gone. So that's one way of doing it. So let's say we want to add one or two services or make configuration changes to it. So we'll open up terminal again and open up the file. So we've got this all open up. Okay. Now, let's say we want to configure some services and we're not 100% sure what services we're going to configure, or we have an idea we want to configure a service, but we're not kind of too sure what the correct setting would be in this OS. Well, this is what you would do here. Okay, now I'll open up a browser and I'm going to go to OS options. And OS options here is, let's say, for example, you want to add flatpaks. You want the option to enable flatpaks. How would you do it? So here we did flatpak, search, services, enable. And here it actually tells you services.flatpak.enable. So we would copy that. You see there's this portion here of the services we want to enable. So, for example, we would add services.flatpak.enable. But what we would need to do afterwards is give it the equal true. And then write it out like this. And save the file. So it's like if we want to enable SSH, you can see there's already a version here. So if I want to automatically enable or disable, for example, the firewall, I can untick that and just change it to true. So let's do this. Write it out, and you guessed it, we're going to do a rebuild switch. Let it run. Keep it a reboot. Now I want to show you the power of this thing and its configuration files. Even more so. So let's make one or two changes here. All changes. So we're going to install this. And I'm going to deliberately make some changes here. So I open up another terminal screen. You'll see my host name, of course, it's Nixos, so remember that. So further down here on the configuration side, you're going to scroll down. And let's say for this, we're going to hash out Google Chrome. And I just want to change this thing's host name quickly, because I deliberately want to break it, or at least make changes. So let's say make Nixos, and we'll change that to Fedora Linux or something. It doesn't matter, it's just a host name. We write the file, and we've made changes, we just switch. And at this point, if we've done something, we've broken something, we've run it, and we can reboot it. So if you check now, you'll see Google Chrome is gone. And if we open up the terminal and I go host name, let's for Linux, oh gosh, I want to undo it. So let's say the machine isn't booting up properly, or you can't remember exactly the change you made. Let me show you. So we're going to reboot again. And you'll see here, if I go to all configurations and hit enter, remember, we want to reverse the last thing we did. So the last thing will count as configuration number 5. And we want to go back to the previous one, number 4. I hit enter. wait. At the machine. And look, Google Chrome is back. And if I open up terminal, back to Nixos. So literally, it's all fine now. Okay, so to roll this thing back, we'll do a sudo Nixos rebuild switch, -- roll back. And what it should do is it should switch grub from version 5 to version 4. And if I reboot this, and if I check here, Chrome's still installed, and my host name is back to Nixos. And if I open up the terminal, okay, so what it's doing is it's booted up using the previous config. But what you should actually do now is if you go and run this file, it's going to give you issues. So what I would do is I would just go back here and just fix the changes manually. So make it back to Nixos and go back again to enable Google Chrome. In this case, I'm actually going to re-enable VLC as well, write it out. And to a rebuild. So now what it's going to do is it's going to take the config file, rebuild everything, so when we reboot again, everything's back to normal. Right, and do a reboot. What you could do is use versioning of the files, so GitHub, GitLab, launch a file, make a backup of it. And if all things really go pear-shaped, you can just replace a file, run a switch, and it's sorted. So VLC is back, Google Chrome is back. Hosting will be Nixos. And if we open up the terminal, and we go back to the file that we've edited, it'll be obviously the file that we fixed. So yeah, folks, this was the introductory. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, if you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. As always, thanks for watching.